ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and thank you for being here today. And I want to thank Bloomberg, but in particular I want to thank Paul and Margaret. I've got to say, Margaret, after your speech, I am voting for you. Let's hear it from Paul and Margaret. I also want to thank Konstantin Kotsias for hosting us here today and for all the great work that is done at Bloomberg. And most of all, I want to thank you, representatives of British business, for being with us today. I want to thank you for the work you do day in, day out for our country. And we're here, obviously, to launch our business manifesto. And it's a plan that we've worked on with so many of you over the last 5 years. And our plan is based on a simple idea. It's a simple idea that Britain can only succeed when all businesses have the chance to succeed. Large businesses and smaller businesses. The multinational company and the family firm. The FTSE 100 and the startup insurgent. Creating wealth, making profits, providing jobs. Playing by the rules and paying the taxes that support our public services. Now, our plan is to work with all our businesses. With a government that balances the books, invests in infrastructure, and works with you to improve skills and open up more competitive markets. It's a better plan in which a proper industrial strategy builds on the great strength of British business to deliver higher wages, higher skills, and higher profits for firms and families together. And it's also a plan that won't risk jobs, exports, and investment, or throw businesses into years of uncertainty by threatening to leave the European Union. Now, I believe Britain has a huge number of advantages and so many success stories in business to celebrate, and we've heard about 2 of them today. We have world-leading firms and sectors, huge drive and creativity, a distinct British talent that invents and innovates to be the envy of the world. But I also believe this: there are too many obstacles in your way. Too often our businesses succeed despite the odds against them, inspired by determined leadership and a dedicated workforce. But too often businesses find themselves in a sea of insecurity. And I think every business here knows the story. The struggle you face to get the skills that you need. The lack of certainty about the long term. A recovery that sometimes feels like it's happening to someone else, somewhere else, as Margaret said. And we see these challenges most of all, in my view, in our low productivity as a country. For every hour worked, we produce nearly 20% less than our main competitors in the G7. Our productivity gap is actually at its highest level for nearly a quarter of a century. Now, I think this is our biggest economic challenge, as we lose our competitive edge in a world that won't wait. And let me also say this: there is no future for Britain as a how low can you go economy. Productivity is the key to the country we wish to be: richer, fairer, with opportunity for all. And that's what our plan is about. Our plan seeks to close our productivity gap with the rest of the world. And it starts with strong economic foundations, as both Paul and Margaret have said. Because our economy can't grow without secure public finances. So we'll balance the books and cut the deficit every year. As soon as possible in the next Parliament, we'll create a surplus on the current budget and have the national debt falling. Next, we will build on these strong foundations by tackling some of the decades-long problems that our economy faces. And our business manifesto lays out a number of these issues, but let me just talk about 2 today. First, and we already heard reference to it, skills. Across the country, over the last 4.5 years, businesses have told me about the struggle to find a skilled workforce you need. It's not because our young people lack talent, it's because their potential is going to waste. So we'll start a revolution in vocational education, calling time on an idea that's gripped our country for too long. That somehow it's the academic route for the best and poor quality vocational training for the rest. It's bad for young people, it's bad for business, and it's bad for Britain. We need all our young people to have access to world-class education, training, and skills. So we'll create a new, clear pathway to a gold standard vocational baccalaureate. Maths and English until 18. And if people work hard and get the grades, we'll make a clear offer to our young people. We'll make sure there is a high-quality apprenticeship there for you. And let me say this. We know we can't do it alone. We can only create the apprenticeships we need by working together with you, British business. Public sector and private. Partnership for a purpose. And this is the deal. We'll give you greater control over the money for apprenticeships. And in exchange, we'll say that any firm that gets a major government contract must provide apprenticeships for the next generation. Opportunities for all our young people, not just some of them. And well-trained employees for your firms. Second, we need to tackle a long-standing problem, and we know this is a deep problem that has faced British business for decades, the problem of access to finance. We know many firms still struggle to get the support they need, whether they're just starting out or trying to get vital investment in a new idea. We're going to change it. We'll create a British investment bank supporting a network of regional banks to invest in businesses in every single part of Britain. And we'll have a market share threshold to make sure there is more competition in business banking on the high street. Real choices for businesses like yours. We need an effective banking sector, and we'll work with our banks to ensure they work for our businesses once again. Now these are big changes to skills and to finance, and they're essential for Britain to succeed. And we'll make other changes too, reforming the energy market, new rules on transparency and executive pay, and reforms to make it easier for companies to take a long-term view. All changes that we've worked on over the past few years. But just as we need change, we know you want stability and certainty too. You need to know that we won't be a government that just kicks over the traces for the sake of it. And we won't. We won't just rip everything up and just start again. Let me give you an example. We'll improve local enterprise partnerships rather than instigating another disruptive top-down reorganisation. You need certainty about tax as well, so you know Britain will continue to be competitive, come what may. That's why we've pledged to keep corporation tax at the lowest rate in the G7. And for people like Paul and Margaret, we will cut and freeze business rates for smaller firms, because we think that is the priority. You need certainty about infrastructure, so you know you'll have the support, the infrastructure there for you to succeed. That's why we'll follow the recommendation of Sir John Armitt and set up a new national independent infrastructure commission to break the cycle of dither and delay that's left our country creaking, trying to run a 21st century economy on 20th century foundations. Now this is a plan for our long-term future, a better plan for British business to invest and to build for the future. But let me be clear about one other thing. Our long-term future lies inside, not outside, the European Union. There could be nothing worse for our country or for our great exporting businesses than playing political games with our membership of the EU, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. In the past 5 years, our place in the European Union has become less and less secure. David Cameron used to say he would campaign to keep Britain in Europe, but now he won't rule out campaigning to leave. He used to say he'd be able to negotiate treaty change in Europe, but now he keeps quiet about that too. He came to power promising to stop his party banging on about Europe. Now, if he has his way, he'll have us inside the European Union banging on the door to leave, or even worse, outside the European Union, banging on the door trying to get back in. I want to be clear about what's at stake in this election for British business. David Cameron has an arbitrary timetable after a set of negotiations which require the agreement of 27 other member states. He oversees a divided Conservative Party, half of whom want to leave, and he's a Prime Minister who doesn't seem to know his own mind. And at the same time, he now promises a leadership contest in the Conservative Party, with candidates vying against each other to see who can be more extreme on Europe. It is a recipe for at least 2 years of uncertainty in which inward investment would drain away. 2 years of uncertainty in which businesses will not be able to plan for the future. And 2 years of wasted opportunities for progress, for profit and for prosperity. It is a clear and present danger to British jobs, British business, British families and British prosperity. And it threatens to shut UK businesses out of a market which benefits small and big businesses alike, giving them access to the world's largest trading bloc. It's simply the wrong direction for our country. If you care about strong foundations, if you care about long-term stability, if you care about prosperity, then Britain must be a committed member of a reformed European Union. There is just no future for our country threatening to leave, being locked out of the room. The job of the next Prime Minister is to open new markets for businesses, not close them off. And we should be reforming Europe from the inside, to build an EU that properly supports the needs of business, to build an EU that spends its budget wisely, to build an EU with fair rules on immigration. We will show strong leadership to get the best for Britain. We won't condemn this country to years of uncertainty, years of insecurity, by threatening our European future. So that's the basis for our plan for business. A better plan for a better future. And of course, today is a big day to launch our business manifesto. After all the commentary, all the arguments, the campaign now begins in earnest. I've got to say to the business people in the room, I don't know whether that fills you with excitement or something else. I won't ask. But this election really matters. For me, this election is about you, your family, and the country. We need to be a country that rewards your hard work again, not as we've seen over the last 5 years, a country where wages fall behind bills. We need to be a country that gives a future to all of our sons and daughters, not what we've seen over the last 5 years, where our young people fear they'll have a worse life than their parents. We need to be a country that rescues our NHS with more doctors and nurses, not what we've seen over the last 5 years, an NHS sliding into crisis. And there are two futures on offer at this election. To carry on with a Conservative plan based on the idea that as long as the rich and powerful do well, then everyone else will be okay. Or a Labour plan, a better plan, that says it's only when working people succeed that Britain succeeds. My case to you over the course of this general election is that Britain can do better than this for you and your family. And this is a country we can only build together. A partnership for a purpose between government and business, supporting all of you to create long-lasting prosperity that reaches right across our society, from your firms to everybody's front door. That's what we all want to see. And we'll do it with sound economic foundations, creating higher living standards for working families, inspiring hope for our young people. These are our goals. This is our plan. Let's build a better country together. Thank you very much.